What is up, guys? We're back with another episode of Modern Meta Breakdown. This time around, we're going to be talking about our newest addition to Modern that has been released from jail. That's right, Stoneforge Mystic has been locked away forever. Ever since she was printed, she was basically said, nope, you cannot have fun. You can watch everybody else get unbanned and have fun without you. But finally, she's free. So we're going to be talking about 3 lists that have popped up around her. There is current iterations of Devoted Druid lists that are running her. We are not going to be talking about that today. We're going to save that specifically for our Devoted Druid episode. So that means that we are going to be talking about our blue-white control style that is running her, the Azorius Stoneblade. We're going to be talking about our Bant version, and we're going to be talking about our Selesnya or Eldrazi version. So let's get it started with our first version, which is just the blue-white list. And why is this relevant? So for those that are unfamiliar, we've got our Stoneforge Mystic here, which is a 2-cost creature for a 1/2. When it enters the battlefield, you can search your library for an equipment card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. Alright, seems fine. I gotta find an equipment. I like equipments. Who doesn't like equipments? The other relevantness and the reason why she's actually seeing play in Modern and other formats and why she's so good is because you can pay 2 and put that equipment card from your hand onto the battlefield. Well, that doesn't seem that bad, right? Why would that be scary? What's wrong with that? Oh, wait a minute. There's things like Batterskull that exists, which is normally a 5 cost that makes it 0/0 germ and attaches it to it. So now it's a 4/4 with Vigilance and Lifelink. Seems good, but being able to have that on turn 3, yeah, that's kind of relevant, kind of scary. The other equipment that is most often seen play is our Sword of Feast and Famine. Now, some people are running Light and Shadow and things like that and trying out other versions, but Feast and Famine really is the best for the current meta. Being able to cause your opponent to discard a card, super relevant, and being able to untap all your lands. Like, that's the big key thing. A lot of these lists that are running it want to have access to their mana so they can be able to cast creatures, be able to cast spells, whatever they might be able to do. So that's what we're going to be highlighting here. Why is this blue-white list running it? So it's basically saying, I want to have a blue-white control list. All right, I'm going to be running our Snapcaster Mage, our normal package. I've got Planeswalkers, Jace the Mind Sculpture, Teferi. Cool, makes sense. And then it's running Spell Queller in here, which some blue-white lists used to run it main board, some used to run it sideboard. It's pretty much fallen off, except for now in these Stoneblade style decks. By having a 2/3 flyer that you can be able to equip your Sword of Feast and Famine on, and just guarantee being like, all right, here's 4 damage, discard a card, I'll untap my lands. Now I can counter your stuff. Now I can, do all kinds of different things. It's super relevant. So Spell Queller's in here. Also the ability to counter, essentially, any spell that costs 4 or less and just exile it until Spell Queller leaves. Super great. So let's talk about the protection, the way that kind of backs up this sort of Stoneforge plan that we've got going on here. So Cryptic Command, of course, because you're basically running a blue-white shell. You're running Force of Negation in here. Again, it's a blue-white shell, right? Force of Negation is awesome. We've seen it kind of pop up in a lot of different lists, including Merfolk getting a resurgence now that that exists. Hi. And then we've got Mana Leak in here, Opt, Path to Exile, and Spell Snare. So it really is just a blue-white list, but it now has a quicker clock. Before, you kind of have to grind it out with your Planeswalkers, with your Manlands of Colonnade and stuff like that, but now you have a quicker clock and making things a little bit more relevant. Your sideboard is pretty similar to what you'd expect, and I'm going to go just quickly through it. The Graveyard Hate, Artifact Hate, extra removal, more counter magic, things like that are kind of mainly where it's at. Again, I keep saying it, guys. Pretty much the last couple episodes that we've shown, Ashiok has been popping up. So if you're not holding any playsets yet, I recommend you getting them because they are going to be quite relevant in Modern, or at least in what the current meta is shaping up to be. Gideon's in here. Gideon's great for sort of this sort of style, blue-white. You got to make tokens, and you can be able to swing with Gideon. So, Supreme Verdict, extra removal, timely reinforcements, creatures, life gain. Sweet, awesome. We love it. We know what we're doing here with this blue-white list. Let's talk about our Bant version. So, Bant is basically we're playing the Flicker game. All right, we still have our Stoneforge Mystic. We still have our Batterskull. We still have our Sword of Feast and Famine. And we still have our Force of Negations. And we still have got Path to Exile. So, looking pretty similar. Planeswalkers, running to Fairy here. And, of course, our newest addition, Oka, Thief of Crowns. Making food relevant. The +1 to make a target artifact or creature into a 3/3 and it loses all its abilities. Super, super relevant. This is another one that's going to be seeing quite a bit of Modern play. If you're in these color or this color pie, you should be trying to run this creature or this Planeswalker because, hey, turns out 3 cost or less Planeswalkers are amazing in Modern. The reason why you're running Bant, though, is because of the great creatures that you get access to. So, of course, we've got our playset of Stoneforge. We've got our playset of Spell Queller. Makes sense. This is looking pretty normal. We got to see there's birds in here. Awesome. It is snow-covered, so we're going to be running our Ice Fang Coddle, our Snake. He's 1/1. He draws cards. He's got Death Touch when we have at least 3 or more snow permanents. So being able to flash him in is relevant, and he's got flying. So I just need to equip my Feast and Famine on him, be able to swing in, get some damage done. So again, relevant. That Ambush Viper seems pretty great there. The other access we've gotten here is Scavenging Ooze. Hey, Graveyard Hate, really cool. Giver of Runes. So here's our additional creature that we're going to be talking about here. Giver of Runes is popping up in a lot of other decks that are running white, so we'll talk about her at least particularly in this list. You can be able to tap her, and another target creature you control gains protection from the color of your choice until the end of turn. So very relevant when they're trying to have single targeted removal against you, and you just protect that creature. No, I don't think so. Nah, nope. Just keep tapping away. Deputy of Detention we've talked about previously. It's a 1/3, and it's basically saying, hey, I'm going to exile all target non-land permanents of the same name until Deputy of Detention leaves. All right, we've seen this on enchantments before, and now it's on a creature. Noble Hierarch is in here. Okay, we're getting the ramp, we're getting the Exalted triggers, seems good. And then here's our Flicker ability that I was talking about, Restoration Angel. It's a 3/4, so nothing to scoff at. At least power and toughness with flash, flying, and when it enters, you get to exile target non-angel creature you control and return it to the battlefield under your control. Flickers it out of existence and right back in. So any enter the battlefield effects that might exist, like Stoneforge Mystic, like our Ice Fang here, they get to be able to go off. Same thing can go off for our Deputy of Detention. So it is relevant in how that is set up. So Restoration Angel is pretty good for that. So if you want to play a Stoneforge Mystic that is more creature oriented and does have the kind of hints of a control deck, this is the way to go. Right? The Bant ability and being able to kind of have relevant creatures and kind of go kind of a normal route, try out this. Now, if creatures is your style of play, let's talk about the last list. Another ramp sort of strategy here. Birds of Paradise is in here. We've got our Noble in here. Knight of Autumn. Again, that ETB effects. You got to be able to pick one or the other. Gaining life is pretty good. Destroying something, also very relevant, especially because artifacts and enchantments work really well against some of those Urza lists that are running around. Of course, got to have our playset of Stoneforge Mystic. But the reason why this Selesnya list is so good is because it's just a flicker ability with powerful Eldrazi. The flicker from this, instead of running Restoration Angel, we're running Eldrazi Displacer, which costs 3 for a 3/3, and you have to pay 3, and at least one of that, it has to be a colorless mana source. You get to exile another target creature, then return to the battlefield tapped under its owner control. So you can be able to flicker your own stuff to have those ETB effects take place, such as Night of Autumn. Or you could flicker your opponent's creatures at the beginning of combat, and they cannot attack with that creature. You've also got things like Thought-Knot Seer, which is an enter the battlefield effect that you get to look at your opponent's hand and exile a card. When Thought-Knot Seer leaves the battlefield, your opponent draws a card. They don't get that card back like Tidehollow Scholar. So that is relevant, where you can flicker him again and just keep stripping away relevant cards. And then Reality Smasher is also in here, just in case you forgot how good the Eldrazi creatures are. So that means you, land-wise, is going to be a little bit different than some of the other lists, because you do get access to Cavern of Souls, Eldrazi Temple, but you need that colorless mana, so you need things like Horizon Canopy, Brushlands in here as a way to kind of make that colorless mana to be able to cast Thought-Knot, to be able to cast Reality Smasher, and be able to activate our Eldrazi Displacer. The artifacts are still the same, Batterskull, Sword, but we're back to getting super relevant cards like Ancient Stirrings, because I can be able to get any of these lovely Eldrazi creatures because they're devoid. This card has no color. You may reveal a colorless card from among them. Oh, I can get a Reality Smasher, add it to my hand, seems great. Also, Once Upon a Time, being able to find a land or a creature is pretty much all this deck wants to do. I either want to play a land so I can be able to cast my creatures, or I want to cast a creature. That's it. So I need creatures and I need lands. Alright? Because the rest of the stuff, Feast and Famine, Batterskull, that's going to get tutored up from Stoneforge Mystic. Alright? I don't really want to draw those cards because I can just tutor them. So that's why if you are finding them Once Upon a Time, sweet, put them down at the bottom of my library. I don't need to worry about that. So that's a great addition to the list. And like I was talking about in a previous episode, or maybe a future episode, I'm not sure in our order of how things are coming out right now, Once Upon a Time is super awesome, and it's going to be showing up in a lot more lists. It seems to be the case in pretty much every standard set that comes out now. There is going to be a card that seems play in Modern. So really good style, but it's, again, very creature heavy oriented. Still that kind of enter the battlefield, and it's basically saying, hey, I'm taking older Eldrazi lists and I'm updating it with more power, right? Being able to have this Night of Autumn in here, which this main board removal is awesome, because one of the things about some of the old Eldrazi lists is if they run into something like a Worship, Ensnaring Bridge, in this like main board stuff, they're screwed. And so having this main board now just gives them an out in certain situations. So all of these lists are kind of the same feel, right? I've got a quicker way to win is really what Stoneforge Mystic has done. I've accelerated the clock a little bit more. None of them are super overpowered. None of them feel like a crazy matchup to be fighting against. The blue-white is just, I'm going to speed up the clock on blue-white by adding in these cards. I'm going to speed up the clock on my Eldrazi list and have access to more utility. And then our Flicker Bant one is just sort of, I have a lot of ETB effects that I'm going to take advantage of, and I've got protection. So if you're facing down these sort of stuff, there are artifacts that exist that prevent enter the battlefield effects from triggering. You could go that route depending on what you're playing, if they're starting to see a lot of these. But really, if you can kill Stoneforge Mystic before they're able to put that equipment onto the battlefield, it is definitely going to slow them down. I'd say that this list is the more streamlined, that it doesn't care as much if Stoneforge doesn't get the equipment down, because the curve out for this deck is so much more streamlined, where you can be like, okay, turn 1 I'm playing Birds, I'm playing Noble. Turn 2 I'm going to be playing Stoneforge. Turn 3 I'm either going to be putting this artifact this equipment onto the battlefield, or I'm going to be trying to be casting my Displacer or my Thought Knot Seer. Or if my mana works out great, I could even cast my Reality Smasher, and then it just kind of goes from there. While our Bant Stoneblade one, Snowblade there, is a little bit more grindy, toolboxy creature-wise, right? Deputy of Detention's in here, Giver of Runes, Restoration, Scavenging Ooze, Spell Queller, Ice Fang, so it's a little bit more utility, plus it's got the Planeswalkers and can kind of grind a little bit more. So you just have to kind of decide where you want to go. Not going to be highlighting as much with the sideboards here. They are kind of toolbox. I've had them up on the screen so you guys can be able to look at them, go over them. It's what you might expect, the normal stuff that you're going to be having access to, right? The blue-white list, we talked about a little bit of how it's been going. Bant is, some lists we've talked about adding in other swords in their board. A lot of the stuff that you would expect to see in these sort of lists. This one's a kind of highlighting the fact that there are Eldrazi lists that are running Chalice of the Void. You just kind of adjust your numbers. You can kind of adjust your 1-drops if you need to for Chalice, things like that. Engineered's in here, Relics, Artifact Hate, Chokes, all that sort of good stuff. But that's kind of the way that the Stoneforge lists are starting to turn into. There are other lists people are trying. There's still other things that are existing in Modern, but we're only highlighting these 3 as the kind of straightforward creature-based strategy that is the win more style of playing. So if you guys like this episode, please consider hitting the follow, subscribes, all that kind of good stuff. You can see up in the corner there is all of the relevant information about where you can find me. You can also find descriptions down below of the video. I am going to be releasing more of these Modern Meta videos over the next coming weeks. There's also going to be more Sea of Thieves content coming out on the channel, and then a couple of other projects that are in the work, more StarCraft stuff. I'm going to be working on some other projects. Don't want to give too much away, but if you like the content, you know what to do. And thanks again for tuning in and watching, guys, and I'll catch you guys next game.